Amy Jo Johnson, everyone.
Hi, guys. How are ya? Nice to see you. I probably already saw you all today. Did I? Anyway, here we are.
We are here.
Me and Tanner. You guys know Tanner?
Yeah. Couple.
This is Tanner. Do you ever watch, like, the movies?
Yeah, we were just.
Cineplex.
Yeah. Just a couple
He's
Americans.
the guy who's always on there, right?
Americans here though, because it's the border. So they're like, oh, what the
Oh,
hell
that's
is
only
is
in Canada?
Cineplex? Yeah.
I've been in Canada too long.
Yeah. You're like, working on it, guys. Come on, bring me to the U.S. Working on it. Build some theaters. I'll come down.
Oops. So anyway, so how's it going? Beautiful day, no? Have you been outside? It's so lovely.
Do you come to Niagara Falls often? Is this like a little holiday spot for you?
I came for my birthday last year with my daughter, and we rented this really cool hotel room that had this mirror on the ceiling and stuff, and there was this bathtub in the middle. I know, me and my daughter. We were like, what? She's like, what is this, Mom? Look. I'm like, things happen sometimes.
That's great. It's a good little vacation spot. There's lots of things to do.
I like to tell her everything. I just do. It's who I am. I didn't tell her what the mirrors are for.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what the mirrors are for? Should I tell you? No, I won't.
I mean, Google it, I guess. I don't know. Well, you've been really busy. I've been running into you a lot on set because you've been behind the camera for when there's the space between, and then now Tammy's Always Dying.
Tammy's Always Dying. Yeah, so about 5 years ago, after I did Flashpoint, yay, I loved that show. I loved doing that show. It brought me to Toronto, and I love it there. Anyway, I started to write and direct, and that's what I do now, and I love it.
Do you think
So there.
an actor can make a better director just because of having that experience on the other side of the situation? Do you think that kind of makes you a better director having experienced the acting world?
I think so. I mean, at least for me, I think it makes me feel really comfortable on a set, and I feel like it's the world that I live in because I've been doing it for the last 20, how many years? God, Power Rangers was my first job I ever had. So when was that?
Oh, there you go.
93. So what's the math? Because every year it's 20-year anniversary for the last 10 years. I'm like, how many 20-year anniversaries can there possibly be?
Yeah, well.
Isn't there a lot of them?
It's a lot.
No? Am I wrong? Every year it's an anniversary.
There is.
For Power Rangers, for something.
There is, obviously. They find a way to tie it back, always.
Anyway.
And you've done for acting, directing, writing. Where is home for you right now? Is it directing? Are you going to kind of stay there for a bit?
Yeah, I love it. And writing. But this last movie I just did, Tammy's Always Dying, which I'm in post right now. We're finishing it up. I did not write. This woman, Joanne Sarrazin, that I met at the Canadian Film Center, she wrote it.
It's very cool. And also, we got to say, it's like singing, performing as well. You're a musician, too.
I haven't done that in a while.
3 albums, though? I mean, right? Is it 3 albums? Is that right?
Yeah.
So you've really done everything at this point, really?
Well.
Anything left? What do you want to do? Is there like an Amy Jo bucket list? What's going on?
I'm going to stick with directing for a bit.
Okay, directing.
Yeah.
Stunts? No?
I've done a bit of stunts.
You've done stunts?
Well, because I was a gymnast, so I didn't do all the stuff on the Power Rangers, but I did a lot of it.
Cool, do like stunt driving.
I didn't like to wear the helmet because I couldn't breathe. Because it had 3 holes in there. It was, oh God, you guys, it was dreadful.
So,
the first, I think, 7 episodes, we had to wear the helmets.
Oh, yeah.
And we couldn't breathe. So they got people who could hold their breath, I don't know. But they got other people. Sorry. It's true.
Now, doing Power Rangers for a few seasons like you did, when you walked away from the project at the end, was there anything you got to take away from it? Did they give you any little props or souvenirs or anything from set? Because some productions are pretty sticky about that stuff. Do you have a suit at home in their closet or? No, I don't. No?
But at the time when I was filming, I was dating this electrician, and you guys want to hear this story? Anyway, him and the other electricians, they stole the Blue Ranger suit. They did, guys. And I think they all wore it, and I don't know what they did with it. And then they all got fired.
Oh, wow. Does David know, he asked?
Oh. Yeah, he does. I'm curious. I don't know how he felt about that. I don't remember.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure this suit is in like a Planet Hollywood somewhere. They always find a way to
No,
find
I
that
think they had
stuff.
a couple of them. It was like I don't think our spandex is anywhere, is it? I wish I took something from the show, but I didn't.
If you could have.
Oh, you know what I have? I have my little coin.
Oh,
like
that's
my little
cool.
power coin. I have that.
Yeah, and also with the new film, we've seen like a revival or a reboot they've tried with this new movie, and you of course cameoed in the film. What was it like, kind of coming back to that
Remember
world?
we talked about that?
Yeah.
Oh, but they don't know that. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
Because we talked about how I got the cameo role.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Yeah.
had to call.
I was gonna say we should tell that story now. It's a really great story.
Well, I don't know if it's a
No.
great story. It's sort of a sad story, but I really wanted to be in the movie. Because I just thought it would be fun. So my manager kept calling not the agents, the production in Los Angeles, and they kept saying no. Not the production. It was like the producers, and they were like, no, they want to just really separate the movie. Anyway, so then finally I was like, well, they're shooting in Vancouver. We should just call the production company, like the production, and ask the director. Because if the director's smart, he'd totally want like some of the original cast like cameoing. So we called. And guess what?
That's it. It's crazy that you had to make that call though. But I mean, it worked out for the fans. We all
It's a
enjoyed
little
that.
embarrassing, but anyway.
No, but you got to do
okay.
it.
So if did you guys see the movie? Did you see me in there? I went and watched the movie with my daughter in a movie theater, and nobody noticed that it was us. I know. Because if you blink.
Well, the thing is also there's like different versions of the fans. Maybe they're all new fans. Maybe they're fans of like Dacre or something, and they're Naomi Scott, and they're like, I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. But they did not. They weren't aware.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, educate.
It's okay,
people.
guys. Actually, it was in Hamilton. I went with my friend Nicola and her daughter. Nobody knew.
Now you're talking
Except
about.
for us.
Did you stand up and be like,
Frankie's
that is me?
That's my mom. Nobody knew.
And working in this world and acting, directing, all this. What if your daughter one day was like, I want to be an actor? What would you something you would want her to do? Or would you kind of advise her to be like,
I don't know if there's a want or not want. If she's super passionate about it and wants to do it, then I would support her in
cool.
going for that, but I don't push it or really.
Yeah.
She wants to be an inventor.
an inventor? Oh, we need more of those.
Right?
There's still things in my everyday life that I'm like, this could be easier.
Yeah, she has a book and she has a list of things that she's inventing.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one of them and they're not coming to me right now, so we'll move on from that.
Now, we were talking earlier as well, there's, besides, obviously, Power Rangers and the other things, Felicity, and there are so many other things that you've maybe, had an episode here and there on. And any things that, you've maybe forgotten about that fans have reminded you of, maybe in particular like this show? Do people come up to the table and go, oh, I remember you from this? And you're like,
Well, last convention in Phoenix, somebody dressed like Gary Oldman in a movie called Interstate 60. Did anybody see that? Nope. Gary Oldman's in it, guys. And so is Jimmy Marsden, and it had this really cool cast. And I play, are there any children here? I play this person on a quest for the best F word. Anyway, that's like literally my role. Why am I talking about this? Anyway, that's my role. And I was hitchhiking, and Gary Oldman and Jimmy Marsden picked me up in a car. And then I have this amazing scene with Gary Oldman.
it's awesome.
So fun,
Gary
right?
Oldman's
Like that's
amazing.
the highlight of my career. Am I answering your question, or am I like
no,
that is probably one of my most favorite roles, just because I got to work with him, and that was pretty cool. And at one point, the director gave me direction, and then he whispered to me in his English accent, which I can't do. Don't forget your instincts, which I love,
That's
which
great.
I'll never forget.
Yeah, Gary Oldman, that's a huge...
Interstate 60, guys.
Yeah, there you go. Add it to the watch list.
It's okay. You know who wrote it, actually? I don't know. Is the guy who who directed it is the guy who wrote one of the Back to the Futures or something like that. Anyway, Amy Smart's in it.
Oh,
Nope, nobody.
What do you like
Want to know the worst movie I've ever done?
Oh, I mean, I don't know if we want to go there, but okay, let's go there.
Anybody see Infested? Oh, yeah. Did you like it? It's horrible, right? It's the worst movie on the planet. Thank you. Did you like when I had my Raid cans and I was like, I kill all the flies or something with Raid and fire? Yeah.
So if you could hack into your IMDb account and delete or add things, that's one of the things
Oh,
that you
I
maybe
believe
would.
it all.
You just leave it?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we can't lie, so I can't really add.
Yeah, just be like, I was in Lord of the Rings. I was in Star Wars, Jaws. I was on the boat in Jaws. They don't remember.
No one would know.
Yeah, they're like, maybe there was someone in the cabin.
I think you
they
could
just
do that on
didn't see.
Wikipedia or something, but I don't know. IMDb. Anyway.
Now, we have a fair bit of fans here. So if anyone has any questions for Amy, we do have a mic, but I feel like, I don't know, do we want to come to the mic, or can we just yell? Or how is our, if we yell nice and loud, maybe we can just, go to you if you put your hand up. How about we do that?
We'll see how it goes without
see
the
how it
mic,
goes.
and then if we need the mic, we'll get
Or we can line up.
Okay.
You guys want, what do you
Anyway,
got? What am I going to do? Okay, let's yell it out. Go ahead.
For Power Rangers, I want to ask, what was your favorite monster or monster?
There are some weird ones, huh?
Favorite monster in Power Rangers?
I don't remember them all. I remember some weird pig. The pudgy pig. I remember that guy. I don't know if he was my favorite, but he definitely stuck out. Was there a weird guitar? I think he was called like Guitardo or something like that. Like, who wrote that? It's terrible.
Guitardo.
What? I know.
Yeah, well, you know now.
Oh, I don't remember that. What was happening? Oh, I remember a giant flower that almost ate me. Bloom of Doom. And I had to cry. I only remember that because I really had to cry. And I remember, this is a sort of embarrassing story, but Twee, who was my very good friend who passed away, you guys know that, the Yellow Ranger. Anyway, I had to cry, and I wasn't, as an actress, the greatest crier in the first half of my career. I was a terrible crier. And I remember sitting on the floor having to cry over something. Do you remember that? I was on the floor crying. And I made Twee stand across the gymnasium, because we were in a gymnasium, and look at me in the eyes, because for some reason I thought if I just have human connection, I'll cry. This is so stupid. And I just sat there trying to poop out a tear. And it didn't work. Anyway, I can cry now. Now I don't even act, and now I can cry at a drop of a hat.
You say poop out a tear?
That's what it felt like. I was trying to cry.
It's not crying, it's pooping
God,
tears.
have you guys ever just tried to cry without having to cry?
There you go.
Somebody give it a go. Who can do that?
Yeah, I will just point to you and you start
Hard.
crying. All right, what is here? Let's go over to you. Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, what was the hardest stunt for you to shake off?
Shake off, like I hurt myself?
Yeah.
Oh.
Not in a violent, please. I don't want.
No. I don't think I ever really hurt myself. What comes to mind is when I was about 8 months pregnant and had to sit at the roof of a house with a sniper rifle in Flashpoint, and that was really scary. Or 3 months pregnant and being on one of those on a high rise in one of those buckets where yes, with a sniper rifle, and I dropped a bottle of water, but let's not talk about that.
You ever shot a scene that kind of stays with you for a while? How do you shake a scene like that? That's maybe so.
Oh, I used to love getting really cathartic and just when I learned how to cry later on. When was that? When was the first time I actually cried? I remember one time. Oh my God. Why am I telling you all the embarrassing stories? But in Felicity, I remember I was taking this acting class from this woman who was teaching us this technique of how to cry, and it was this breathing thing where you go, shh, shh. I'm not going to do it because it's really embarrassing, but I thought I'd bring the technique onto the set, and I remember just Scott Speedman. It was the scene with him, and I went over in the corner to get ready to cry, and he was just like, what the hell is she doing? I don't do that anymore. Wow. I can now, you know what I do? I bring a blower For reals. It's like this little thing and it has glass and then like you just trick yourself. You just like, somebody blows that in your eyes, like these little crystals, and then it makes your eyes water and then you feel like you're crying and then it's so easy.
Oh, there you
Cheater.
go.
Cheater.
There you go. You never know. You need to learn how to make yourself cry, you know? Get out of lots of things in life. Your friend's
Just carry
wedding.
around a blower.
Yeah. Yeah.
The little crystals, yeah.
Whatever you need.
Anyway.
You don't want to go to work today? Just make yourself cry. All right, let's
Right?
go. Yeah.
You could use that in real life.
Yeah, just make yourself cry and then just be like,
Although
"Oh,
you need another person to blow in your eyes.
Oh, that's the whole thing.
I know.
You got to like FaceTime your boss or something because they have to see you crying.
I know. Like,
That's weird.
like, who do you ask? Who's gonna blow you? Okay, let's
Yeah.
move on to the next question. This
We
is
did
the
it.
wrong
We went
crowd.
there.
What am I
Let's
doing?
go right to the back, nice and loud in the hat. Yeah, go ahead. Who do you keep in touch with from the cast?
So David Yost is one of my best buddies, and we travel together and vacation together. JDF, he's been texting me all day. He's in Indiana. Apparently that con's crazy. Very busy day for JDF. And then I saw Steve Cardenas last week at the Phoenix one, or 2 weeks ago, wherever. But David Yost and JDF is who I talk to consistently on a regular basis.
Because, yeah, you haven't really been doing the cons for all that long now. Has that kind of brought you closer to former cast members?
Well,
You
not
find-
David. Me and
Not
David have stayed connected and really, really great friends throughout the years. But Jason, I think actually doing the cameo was the first time I had seen him in about 10, 15 years.
Oh, that's cool. Wow. Now you
Yeah.
guys keep in touch.
Yep.
That's awesome. All right, let's go over. Yeah, go ahead. What's your question?
I really like, I can't remember the name of it, but I really like that film you did where you played the young girl who had the bulimia problem.
Oh, a perfect body. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was really proud of that movie because they actually used it in like health classes and stuff because it was about a girl who had anorexia, and apparently it helped some people. So.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's always nice when you do a piece of work and then it actually ends up, like Power Rangers, for instance. I had no idea until doing these conventions and meeting people and hearing their story of how much it affected and helped kids going through rough times or whatever it may be. Even though at the time when I was doing the show, I had no idea. Like, that wasn't my intention, so it's just kind of nice when you get this sort of like free karma or something, you know?
Yeah, it's cool because as an actor on set, you're not really in touch with who you're reaching. And it's like you're on stage with an audience, so you have really no idea. It must be kind of, is it overwhelming at some points? So you walk out in these massive crowds of fans that you had no idea.
At the conventions?
Yeah.
No,
Does it surprise you how many people actually?
I do
Definitely?
find it
Yeah.
quite, I don't know about surprising, well, I guess surprising. But also a blessing as well. Like I find, like when I decided to start writing and directing, I did an Indiegogo campaign for The Space Between, and which is where a crowdfunding where I raised money, and I raised like enough money to make my first feature film from the support of people who had been watching my career since Power Rangers, and I was just like
cool.
blown away, and I didn't really realize until around that time, like the impact that it had on kids.
That's awesome. That's very cool. Okay, I had a question. Yeah, go ahead. Beetlejuice, right? Is that right? Go ahead.
You guys give a lot of styles to the Power Rangers, the Justice League, the blind woman being Pink Ranger.
I don't know anything about the Justice League.
Girl, Princess Diana.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She got into your suit.
Oh.
It's Morphin time.
So if Wonder Woman took over
Did
the
you
Pink
like
Ranger,
it?
Like, I love this Steppenwolf as Rita.
Oh, so
I see.
interesting. Like this. Oh, that must be so confusing.
It's sort of really together.
Yeah.
And really reminds you of Power Rangers TV series,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
brought into a screen.
Oh, yeah. We could do a crossover. That would be a good maybe a Justice League Power Ranger crossover. Maybe.
Also the Flash series, too.
You just combine everything. Everything you've ever worked on in one thing, all crossed over. There you go. Let's make that.
That would be weird.
Would it be?
Just a little
Would your
bit.
characters like each other, do you think? Would they?
Oh, I think they're all kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's okay. Okay, you finished up your question.
Cool. Sorry.
There's also three movies
Yeah. Oh, is this a for real thing? Or are you making this up?
You want to see that?
Oh, you want to see it? You should write it.
Okay. Write it and then. Okay.
Jason could do
Well,
it. Jason's writing a lot of poetry lately. Have you guys seen his poetry online? Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you've learned anything about contacting production offices, I mean, you got yourself in the Power Ranger movie, so call a production office somewhere and make it happen. There you go. You just call up Gal Gadot herself and everyone else, and they'll just, you make it happen. All right, let's go back over to this side. Go ahead. What's going on? Favorite season?
The first one. Oh, the only one. I don't know. I don't really have a favorite. I'm sorry. I never really. I didn't watch the show after. What's your favorite? How about that?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. What year was those? Were those? You guys, this is like
So
the
not-
longest going show. I think they're still filming.
Yeah.
I think Austin's going down there to New Zealand to be on it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Do you guys watch them all? Yeah. And are they good? You guys, did somebody die like a week ago? Yeah. What happened?
Red Ranger.
Yeah.
They found him in his apartment.
A Red Ranger died. You know, there's so many of them. One is bound to die.
Yeah.
That wasn't even funny. That was terrible. You guys, oh my God.
Did you ever, I guess you probably do run into other cast members from other series and you do cons, right? Do you run into other Power Rangers in the
Yeah, actually
in the
working on a show.
franchise?
So one time on Flashpoint, there was somebody who was a ranger that I worked with. My nanny nannied another ranger for a while who is actually
cool.
a filmmaker now. I'm really
really?
terrible with names, so I should know the names, but yeah.
There's a lot of Rangers out there.
There's a lot of rangers.
There are a lot of
guys.
Rangers out there. All right, let's go back to questions. I mean, there's a Ranger right here. Let's go to your question. Go ahead.
There's a ranger.
When they first heard of the idea of Power Rangers, what did you think?
Ooh.
I thought, well, this is my first job. And then I thought, oh my God, I have to wear spandex on national television. And then it was called Dino Rangers at the time. And then I was super psyched to get a job and to be working.
Just the idea, like, of the idea content, what do you think?
At the time, I think I was like, well, I got a job. But I was a gymnast, so I had never acted really before. I did go to school in New York, but they didn't ask me back because I had stage fright. But I was a gymnast, so I think that's what got me the role. So I was just super psyched to be on a set. Like those 152 episodes I think I did in like 2.5 years or something was just really great training ground, and it was just an amazing experience to be on a set and be filming and learning to hit my mark and just all the stuff that you have to learn to sort of let go of a little bit.
Cool.
I only say that because in my head I was just thinking about, this is boring. Is it boring?
Oh, it's very interesting.
Okay, so one of the things I remember I learned being on the set was I was so obsessed and nervous about how I looked. Like, so boring. But as like 21 years old, and I had to learn to let go and let somebody else take care of that. It was a big lesson for me.
It's true. Well, you're putting like your image into someone else's hands. It's kind of you want to be careful of that, right? So it's tough.
No, I think I was just like insecure.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had to just sort of let go and let somebody else worry about that.
That's cool.
That's life, guys.
And do you ever, like you were saying earlier, do you not watch your stuff that you do then? Do you still kind of have a little bit of that where you don't really like to see yourself?
So now being a director, I don't mind. Like, so I was in The Space Between. So did anybody here see The Space Between? So you can rent it if you want to. Did anybody watch Flashpoint? Yeah. Okay, so it's my first feature, and I cast my friends alongside me because it was my first feature and it was such a big endeavor. So Michael Cram, who was on Flashpoint, and David Paco and Sonia Saloma, they're all in the movie, and it's this heartfelt comedy, and I'm really quite proud of it if you want to check it out. But I acted in that as well, but I didn't mind being a director and editing, watching my own stuff. I'm suddenly not watching me. It's just this this actor. I don't know. So as a director, I don't mind watching myself. But earlier on through my career, I think because I struggled a lot with insecurity and I was just, I don't know, I was very nervous. I didn't like to watch stuff. So I really haven't seen the series of Felicity, and I'm actually quite excited to watch it with my daughter at some point.
That's cool.
Yeah, because we're on the second time around of Gilmore Girls. We love that show.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're.
It was a good show, and it had like great directors, and like it was. So I'm excited to watch that with Frankie at some point.
That's cool. Yeah, with
Yeah.
the space between. There's the Vaughn Film Festival. I went to the premiere.
Yeah,
that
you
was,
did.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was
That
super fun.
All right, what is your question? Your hand's been up there in the Nintendo shirt. Yeah, go ahead. Or you can go ahead. Both of you side by side. We'll take turns. Who wants to go first? Fight it out. Wrestle right now. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
Being a former gymnast, do you have any comments on the USA gymnastics scandal that happened a couple years ago?
Oh my, you know.
I feel like we are at a press conference now, actually. The questions are getting very serious, and now we have these little mics, and like, no more questions.
Yeah, no, I don't know what I would comment. It was terrible and horrible, and it's a lot of that stuff has happened, but yeah.
All right, cool. Over to you.
In Power Rangers, do you think, wasn't it kind of a jerk move for Kimberly's character to break up with Tommy's character?
Listen, buddy.
I was in Milan in Pittsburgh a couple months ago and talked to JDF about this, and he doesn't seem to be over it. I don't know if he's
I know, he misses Kim. I know. The thing is that I had gotten to a point being on the show where I felt like I was ready to move on and do other projects. So I went to the producers and I asked if I could leave, and they were very, very generous, gave me a guitar, and said I had to do like maybe 15 more episodes, and then they gave me Suzy Q as well. And then said when they do the movies if I would be in them. And I was like, that's like the most generous way to be let off a show. So then they had to write, accordingly to let my character go. So I didn't write it. And I'm not Kimberly, I'm Amy.
Yeah. She's acting. Come on. Yeah, phone. Yeah.
Huh?
He saved you in battle how many times? It could have been a phone call. I know it's not you.
Yeah, that's true.
I
Before
know.
texting
What did she
too,
do?
right?
I don't even know. I don't remember that script.
Dear John letter. It's like, sorry, thanks for saving my life.
You know what? They wanted everybody to like the cat, so they had to make Kim the bad guy. I get it. It's okay, guys.
Well, talking about the film too, going from the show to the film, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. How was that different for you on set? Did you notice that you were now making the movie?
Well, we were in Australia, and we were there for 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, because they filmed it with the first. We filmed basically the entire movie with Mariska Hargitay. You guys know who she is? She was like the highest paid actress on television forever. And then they fired her, and I don't know why. I don't know what happened. So we had to reshoot the entire movie with this other woman. I can't remember her name, but she was wonderful as well. But we got to spend like 6 months in Australia at like 23. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah. Was it a massive difference between like the show production and the film? Like, I take it the craft services was a little bit better on the film. Is that?
Yeah, I remember they did something where they had this trolley that came out. Like, anyway, we don't need to get into the specifics of that. But the biggest difference, I think, for me was that the costumes on the movie weighed 100 pounds.
Yeah, they're like that leathery material, pleather.
It took like an hour to get off, so you could not drink water because if you can't pee, and so that was a pain in the butt. And I really missed the spandex.
Yeah, and then seeing that movie, hit theaters and going to the premiere that must have been an amazing
Oh my God,
experience.
it was amazing. My parents flew out,
Wow.
and it was really fun. And my sister, and my brother came, and we did we put our hands and feet, although they're not there, such a ripoff, right? We're actually like where people do the hands and feet on Hollywood Boulevard, but then they picked them up and like sent them out somewhere.
At the Chinese theater?
Yes!
Oh, jeez.
I know! Where are those hands and feet? Because they're not there.
Does anybody here own
looked.
those hands and feet?
I don't know. I think they went to Oklahoma at the time because it was around the time of
Really?
the Oklahoma bombing for some reason.
I mean, you see, like, I guess so many times, I think every week or a couple weeks they have a ceremony where someone gets their hands and feet done.
No,
with it.
yeah, that's the
there's
real
not,
deal.
There's not that
I don't
much
know why we
real
did
estate.
this giant thing where we put our hands and feet and all this stuff and.
Okay, track those down. They're on the internet somewhere. We know
Little,
it.
yeah,
We'll get 'em.
They're not there.
All right, go ahead in the NASA shirt. Yeah, what is your question?
When you're a director now, and that's great, but when you were an actor, how did you pick your projects? Like, I remember you did a movie called, what was it? About a teacher or something?
Killing Mr. Griffin? Yeah.
I saw you in that. That was, like, for me as a kid, I probably shouldn't have been watching it. But anyway,
Right.
I'm saying from going Power Rangers to that, like, how did you choose, like,
Well, you know,
that's my question. What made you?
yeah, so when I left Power Rangers, it was probably like a year and a half that I didn't work because I think people had a hard time taking me coming from Power Rangers seriously in a role. And so I just focused fully on doing plays and taking acting classes and not focusing on the business aspect of it, which I highly recommend to anybody who's pursuing a career in acting, to just focus on the acting. And then it started to pick up after that. That's when I got Killing Mr. Griffin, and then I got Perfect Body, and then a year after that, I got Felicity, which was like my biggest break at that time, which was really great. So how do I choose them? At the time, it was like just perseverance and like honing my craft, and then you go out on 50 auditions and you hope you land one. Although I do have to say, I did turn a lot of things down. In the sense of, I remember there was a point where all those horror films were coming out, and I was offered a couple roles in some horror films that I read the script, and I remember just talking to my mom, who passed away, but about like what I want to put out into the universe, and so I didn't feel comfortable. So I would turn things down that I didn't feel comfortable putting out there, and then I also have never. I'm not really fully driven, but I like to travel. So sometimes I would like choose a job because of the location.
It's a nice little bonus. It's a great bonus. All
And
right.
I feel very blessed and lucky with the career that I have had.
That's cool.
Those 20 years of actually acting, I think I had a good run. Like I just kept on working. It was great.
All right, we have time for maybe a couple more questions. So yeah, let's go to the back first. So go ahead. Yeah, what is your question? Oh, like her favorite movie just in general? All right, what favorite movie? I don't. That's a tough.
It is. I have a bunch, but I guess like my all-time oldest favorite movie would be Harold and Maude. Isn't that such a good movie? You should watch The Space Between. I think you'll like it. Not that it's Harold and Maude at all, but you can see where my taste comes from for sure. I love that movie. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, let's go to you, and then we'll go to you, and you be our last question. So start with you. Go ahead.
Have there been any things that you as a director have found that actors do that can be sort of more frustrating on set that you didn't necessarily notice?
Such a
Yeah.
good question.
Oh yeah.
Actors are brats. No. They are a little bit. And I don't know why. You know why? You know why? Because you can't walk off to go get your water. Like somebody has to get it for you. I remember going home. I'm steering away from your story a little bit, but I had been working on Power Rangers for maybe a year, and I went home, and I remember sitting on the couch, and I asked for something, and then I'm like, nobody's helping me, and my mom and my sister and my brother and my dad would make fun of me for years for that. So it's good to have a good family that keeps you grounded.
It's true.
Anyway, having said that, I love actors, and we need them, and they're wonderful. But what was the question?
Anything you
I was
noticed?
thinking of myself. I really love being a director.
So you're asking as a director if there's anything you noticed stepping into that role that actors do, or you kind of give you in having that new perspective. Is there anything that you noticed about actors, or maybe things that, as you said, would frustrate you?
Okay, so that's how I got on that. I'm like, why am I talking about that? Yeah, it's almost like I find, because I'm a new director, right? This is my 5th project, and I don't play tennis, but it's almost like an analogy. I don't know, but it's like each each actor is very different. So you have to figure out how to work with each one differently. What that has to do with tennis, I don't know, but probably swinging different ways. Anyway, so that, I wouldn't say it's frustrating about them. It's something I'm struggling with and trying to figure out of how to actually work with different actors, because every actor is very different, and you have to respect their process and how they're coming at it. Like somebody, I know when I was acting and say I had like this really emotional scene, I would probably be, not a brat, but like, and not even difficult, but just not as outward and friendly when I had that coming up. So people have to sort of cater to that a little bit, because you have to let somebody be in their space. Am I answering your question?
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the space between, full circle. There we go.
Which was amazing. So
Which
this
was
is why,
amazing.
no, not
Yeah.
the movie's amazing. It was amazing that I cast my friends in the movie so that I could just not be intimidated by directing the actors. And they were wonderful. They were the easiest people on the set shooting that. They were so supportive, and I just got to dive into this thing, and they were just there. Yeah.
Nice. All right, last question was yet to you, so go ahead. What is your question?
I actually wanted to start by saying thank you, because I know as an actor doing a lot of traveling, it's very hard on yourself and your family life, so thank you for that. My question having to do with travel, your career, what has been your favorite place to travel to? And while there, what would you recommend to sightsee?
Oh,
Well, I'm just going to go off like recent travels. So it was for a Comic Con, but I went to DC for a Comic Con. What a cool town. I forgot, I'd only been there one other time. I was so blown away by all the history there, and like it's kind of majestic in this way. Like things are, I highly recommend it. And they have those scooters that you can scoot around. I loved it. So boring.
Those are scooters that you...
DC, guys, go.
Those like the Uber scooters that people rent and then they just ditch them everywhere?
Oh my God.
And they're
it
like
was
all over the sidewalks? You
Yeah.
trip on the scooters?
We didn't.
There's a lot of
There's
scooters.
big sidewalks in Washington,
Well, I was
which
in
it works well there.
In Atlanta, they were like all over the sidewalks. Like people would just leave them like
This
haphazardly
was like
all over
that
the place.
too, but I don't know. I didn't find that. But anyway, I loved
Anyway,
it.
get the scooters in DC. All right. I guess that's all the time we have, so we got to end on that. So thank you so much.
thanks. So
Give
you
it up for
guys-
Amy Jo Johnson, everybody.
So I'm going to do the photo op, and then I'm going to go back to my table for a bit if anybody wants to come for the last hour. And then if you guys want to know any projects or stuff that's coming up for me, anyway, it'll go slow because the movie takes a long time. But amyjojohnson.com has like all my information and stuff on there. So you want to...
Do the morph.
What did I say?
Just talk about that.
Pterodactyl.
Yay!
Did I go like that?
There you go. Thank you.